Hey there, Friday Night Movie fans. You're about to hear an awesome episode where we speak about the Super Bowl and Super Bowl commercials, as well as celebrate Josh's 40th birthday. However, one of the strangest audio issues I have ever experienced happened while we recorded this, unbeknownst to us, which is that some of the voices were recorded at an extremely low pitch, and others were recorded at a regular pitch. And in order to correct the sound so that it isn't unbearable to listen to, you're going to hear some sort of slightly strange moments, including Lily sounding a little bit like a chipmunk at times, and me sounding a little bit like I'm speaking in slow motion. Either way, it's a really fun episode. Put it on 1.5 speed on your podcast app anyway, and you won't know the difference. Hope you enjoy. Thanks, as always, for listening. Here we are, and welcome to a very special episode of the Friday Night Movie Podcast. We are celebrating another 40th birthday. No, it is not mine. It is one of the original greatest guests of the show. It's Josh's 40th birthday today, and he is here. He's not the small child talking. He's here. Josh, welcome to the show.
Happy to be here. Thank you guys for having me.
We're going to get to Josh and his 40 years of complaints next. But we also have another bonus guest, and that guest is the great Bobby Buttons, who you might remember from last year's Super Bowl commercial episode. He is back because we're going to talk about Super Bowl commercials as well today. Bobby, how are you doing today?
Hello.
He's brought a mini-me with him.
Hi, Mini Bobby.
And Lily and Becky, I realize you're here too.
Okay, but nobody's going to believe that that's you. What the hell is happening with your voice?
It sounds like we have an impersonator on our hands.
Mountain
Me?
Shy?
Am I impersonating me?
Yeah, you sound like you hired a buttery impersonator because your voice is like 2 octaves lower.
So we're in the mountains. Maybe it's the elevation. Maybe it's the Ski Hill hot chocolate I had today.
Maybe you have something to
really
prove.
know.
I don't know. There's something going on with that voice.
Everyone's eating.
I'm
sticks and butter.
auditioning for...
You're auditioning.
So Lily and Becky, you are here. I think rather than start with how you are doing, unless you have something like major, I just want you to start with your birthday wish for Josh. You've known him since I was 12 years old, so since 1992 or so. So we're talking 28 years of friendship. What do you have to say to him on this glorious birthday of his, other than that you wondering why he didn't come to my bar mitzvah? Other than that,
Well, actually,
didn't invite him.
I was thinking about something on that note. My
Thank you,
wish,
Lily.
my wish for you, Josh, is exactly something along those lines. Which is that since Shai did not consider you during his bar mitzvah time to invite you to his bar mitzvah, my wish
my
for
bar
you.
mitzvah was at the beginning of high school.
My wish for you is that Shai should at least have the class to invite you to his children's bat mitzvahs. That would be my wish for you.
Will there be a bouncy house
If you're there, probably.
and a Velcro wall?
That's very Montreal.
Wow,
is the
that's
Velcro
very
wall.
Did you have
Montreal.
that, Shy? Your bar mitzvah? No.
No,
No,
my bar
our
mitzvah was
parents
pre.
didn't
Jason
believe
Cola
in
was
that stuff.
Jason Cole was the first one to have something like that, and he had a bungee run inside the Shar Shemaim synagogue. A huge
Wow.
which, by the way, you had like bubbies, like tied up to a bungee cord, running across the room as far as they could, and then getting snapped back across the room.
Bobby Bungee.
Bubby bungee.
Bobby Budgie, that's amazing.
Becky, I appreciate that wish because that's literally 28 years of sadness that has filled my heart and missing that bar mitzvah.
It's
Yep.
pretty good bar mitzvah. Lily, what about you? What's your wish?
Can't top that.
Okay.
I mean,
well
fine.
then-
I mean, except for the fact that I wish that, like, both, I don't know, Radiohead, Tragically Hip, and REM, like, snuggled up with Josh on his birthday and sang him, like, sweet tunes into his ears. Besides that, I would just say
Can we-
your kids' bat mitzvahs.
Can we forgo the snuggling, but just have them singing?
No,
just feel like
snuggling
you-
is a
you need
They're
requirement.
not like very
I feel like-
cuddly people.
Exactly.
It was just
like,
Gord Downey's birthday, and he's not alive. And you said that with such snark
No.
that it
Yeah.
just really is
Now I
raining
only
on
get-
Josh's
Yeah,
day.
but I.
Yeah.
This,
Gord
but
Sinclair.
This is a. Yeah, but this is
The
a.
bass player.
This is a like fantastical wish for you. So, I wish that he was there with you, and for your
Well,
birthday, that would be amazing.
so you wish him nothing, essentially, then. You're just wishing him made-up fantasies, nothing that's practical. Like, I also wish you 40-plus more years of things to complain about. I hope you are regularly disappointed by pop culture and shows so that you always have something to fetch about.
Which
That's a good
is the
wish.
perfect introduction. One of the great segments Josh does for us is he brings us his complaints. So I asked him in honor of his birthday to bring us his 40 years of complaints. So Josh, without further ado, before we get to the Super Bowl, your 40 years of complaints.
Okay.
You
Got a bunch of complaints here. Some of them you might agree with, and some of them you won't. It's hard to go back through 40 years, so I tried to pick my biggest complaints. As you know, I will have many. I think one of my biggest complaints is the build-up and the delivery of The Phantom Menace.
Oh,
You
okay.
have
Oh, yeah. All right.
waiting in line at midnight at Le Faubourg Cinema, and we are graced with the presence
We're going deep Montreal here.
of Jar Jar Binks. This is what we get after we waited our whole lives for a new Star Wars, and we get Jar Jar Binks.
Right, like this isn't.
The wastefulness of Darth Maul and Qui-Gon Jinn. We get all of that. So that is, I think, one of the biggest build-ups, and then interesting disappointments over time. But now I've come to appreciate it because I realized it was a kids movie, and my kids love that movie. So it was really meant to bring a new generation in. But for me, eh. So that was one.
That's a good one. That's
Another one is, and I think you guys, we'll see what you guys say about this one. The demise, the mostly gone existence of appointment television.
oh yeah.
What?
It's kind of
Appointment
coming back with
television.
The Mandalorian, but
What
if you
is
think back
appointment
to
television?
Like
So,
the
like,
show was
every
on a
Wednesday,
specific time.
Must see TV.
Oh,
Everybody TGIF. Everybody
TGIF, right.
so like every Wednesday you would watch Roseanne, or every Thursday you would watch
Thursday.
Lost.
Wait, so you're
Friends.
complaining
Or-
about the loss of that, or
Yeah, because
the-
now most, like 99% of the shows that we get are bingeable. Like, right? Other than The Mandalorian is the most recent, or Game of Thrones maybe
Game of
every
Thrones,
Sunday.
yeah.
Where everyone has to watch it by a certain time.
But there, you know, if you haven't watched it within the first 3 days, you basically have to get off social media because an entire show will be ruined for you. Like Stranger
True.
Things, it's done in 2 days, and then we can't talk about it anymore.
You're totally right.
And it wasn't good.
Good point.
But
That's a good point, though.
Right. You sort of have to walk in and
Silencing of it as well. Like if it's week by week, you can feel free during the week to say whatever you want, and then, but if it's a day, then you just can't talk about it because you don't know how far people have gotten. It's like very frustrating.
like there was much Mandalorian conversation because we had an entire week to digest. Like Baby Yoda would not be Baby Yoda if they'd put it out bingeable. I'm convinced.
that's totally true. That last week where we waited a week to find out what actually I waited a week and didn't watch the first episode, but that first 2 weeks of people talking about the reveal before it became a huge meme.
I'm glad I watched
was
it
amazing.
right away, relatively, because otherwise it would have been spoiled. That reveal.
Thank God for your brother who just like got up
Yeah.
in your face and said you have to watch this. I will say the Super Bowl, which we're going to talk about later.
I'll definitely thank him because I don't know who the hell you are. But,
The Super Bowl is one of the last appointment television things, and even then,
That's
I'm
for
pretty sure
sure.
Becky and Lily didn't watch any of the content live.
no, but I do want to make a good
No,
point
I
about
definitely
that.
did not watch that live.
I will say that I was a bit, kind of disappointed and was like, you know what? It's way easier just to watch all the commercials in one shot live because having to go back and like research them like I'm doing a thesis, it's exhausting. There's so many. Whereas if you just run a TV, you could just sit there and watch them and like get them all in one shot. But like there were so many hyperlinks in the document I sent that I was like, oh my god, how will I ever get through all these commercials? So there is something to be said
That's
for
what I do for a living, and I couldn't go through all those hyperlinks.
Exactly. Like it's better to knock them out all in one shot, even though I'm very grateful for YouTube because otherwise I would have had to stay up till like 6 a.m. watching that. And I don't care.
All right, so these are
So.
good complaints, man. Like, these are
Yeah,
You guys
these
are probably going to disagree with this one. I've had 40 years. I don't understand the point of the royals. I don't get it.
Oh,
Like
like the
what?
royal family in
I don't
England?
get it.
Oh, the
Like
royal
that
family?
Americans celebrate the monarchy that we literally
I don't
fought to
understand.
throw off?
They don't do anything. They-
Yeah,
they-
no,
I
I'm
mean,
on that team. I don't
Side.
quite understand
Because
the
they
purpose.
exist, I'm like excited that like there's like a Yoko Ono situation happening. But if they
I
didn't
guess,
exist,
but who
I
cares?
don't care. Like, yes, I agree with you. In the end, I totally agree with you.
Like, what is Prince Charles gonna do for anybody?
King.
Well, don't you watch The Crown?
No.
No, but I see,
Exactly.
You should watch it and then you'll know.
what does he do? I mean, it's just charity work, right?
Well, it's just interesting in The Crown. Like Elizabeth, like she takes it seriously.
Elizabeth is a baller. There's no question about that.
Well, yeah, I mean Elizabeth too.
Yeah, Elizabeth too. I mean, Elizabeth the First did too. Didn't she like?
Yeah, she was a real ball.
You're
Yeah,
going
I mean,
backwards.
I agree, but
You're-
everything
You're
post
going
Elizabeth
backwards.
too,
Exactly.
like Prince Harry and Prince Charles, who cares?
No, William. I think you're thinking of
The
William.
Jeffrey Epstein friend, who cares?
Yeah,
that guy sucks. That
Prince
guy's the
Andrew,
worst.
is that what his name? I mean,
Yeah.
come
Yeah.
on.
he's like taking a sabbatical in Thailand too. Now for a while,
Right.
it's like,
He's like, I guess
oh,
I'll just have to
then
do
nobody
more
will be suspicious.
I'll have to do more of nothing. You guys, I'm so disgraced. I'll just do more nothing.
I've only got one more for you
It's
guys.
a great one, Josh.
And that
One per
is
decade. This is amazing.
The abbreviation, and then I'm going to use a fancy computer science word, concatenation of celebrity couple names.
Oh, really? You don't like ship names?
I do not like Brangelina,
Oh,
Bennifer,
agreed, Josh. You were
Tomcat.
killing it.
Completely
Kimye.
agree.
which then led to Zanessa, Spetterline, Voniston.
What's that
Oh.
one?
That's
Vince Vaughn
Jennifer
and
Aniston
Jennifer
and Vince
Aniston.
Vaughn.
They were together? I thought they were just in a movie together.
Oh,
Unclear, but it had a name.
Oh, what about Megxit?
No, that's
Megxit's
expected.
good because it's a play on Brexit. I appreciate that.
Fair.
That
But it's still the Royals. She was better on Suits. So,
basically, the royal family is being unhinged so we can get a 9th season of Suits. That's like,
It's actually so she can control her own Instagram account, which was prohibited from doing up until now.
right, like
so she can be
that
an
was-
influencer.
that was basically the option: dissolve the royal family,
or have your own IG account.
or find a way to have an Instagram account.
Right. Like just have a fake like Mitt Romney Instagram. What was that guy? What was his
Oh
handle?
yeah, he had like a lurking
In a
account.
burner account?
Yeah, yeah, with an amazing name too, but I can't think of what it was.
It was.
All right, so that's 40 years.
That is. I think Josh, you're the voice of a generation because I agree with everything you said. Except I do like fun couple names, but I think you named lots of bad ones, which I think is a really good point.
Should
Okay,
I start calling you Shally?
I mean we were called Shally before it was cool for people to call.
And you know what? It
people.
still doesn't sound cool.
Still not cool.
Yeah.
It's no Spetterline.
Before it was cool
Better
and never was cool.
Pierre Delecto was Mitt Romney's fake Twitter name.
That's an amazing name.
Just so you guys know, because you can't see, Bobby Buttons did not look that up. He just knew it.
You're right. You just remembered it. That's
Just
amazing.
remembered it.
He asked
Came to
his
me.
near 3-year-old, and he knew
Right,
it too.
I'm like, tell us.
So we do have. So here we have two titans of the marketing and advertising world here in Josh and Bobby Buttons, and so. I'd love to continue our annual tradition of having them come and talk to us about these big pop culture events, and the Super Bowl. There is probably none bigger. Before we get to, actually, let's do the halftime show, and then we'll talk about commercials. Quickly, around the horn, halftime show thoughts. Josh?
Wait,
The
I have a quick
halftime
question.
show, or am I allowed to be explicit on this? Can it
Of
give you a little
course.
E?
Yeah. Lily loves the explicit.
The
She
halftime
drops.
show or the ass time show?
Whoa!
Oh,
whoa,
it's a
whoa.
full buy for me.
Whoa,
The
no,
halftime
you said
I'm
and
kidding.
time.
Whoa,
Give me
didn't-
more of
Listen,
that.
Didn't
shit.
know that. Didn't know like
'Cause
the,
you know what?
the,
It
the
was a
parents who
show.
banned CDs in the '80s were here.
No, I'm
I
just
saw
kidding.
it
That
was
like-
hilarious.
Tipper Gore.
I saw a hilarious meme. I think maybe Chelsea Handler put it up of just like a bunch of like Amish women singing hymns, and they were just like, "Thank you.
No,
Next
I'm
year's
just kidding.
halftime show. You're welcome, moms."
I really like the halftime
Right.
show. I thought Shakira took it in the 9th from J-Lo.
Oh, like you think she won?
I think
I don't.
Shakira won. I think that they crushed it, but I will say that I was like, yes, the Tipper Gore in me was like mildly uncomfortable watching that with my children. Not the Shakira part, but the J-Lo part.
I think the fact that the America had to explain pole dancing to a whole generation of children was amazing.
I have
But
to say-
we spun it in our house as a very athletic activity.
It's
This is what we do.
it's technically a sport, first of all, and second of all, I read a really interesting article from the point of view of a dancer, professional erotic dancer, stripper, and I mean the article was basically like it's disgusting how they use it, you know, just for like J-Lo can get up and do that, but like actual women who have to do this get like ostracized by society and all that kind of stuff. It was a pretty serious article.
Oh yeah, I read that too.
It was a great article. It was actually a fantastic article and a great perspective.
But maybe
Something that we
J-Lo's
use
breaking the poled ceiling here.
I think you could also maybe flip it on the other side as well. But at the same time, it's an interesting conversation to have with your kids. Look, I didn't watch it with my kids, so I guess I didn't think about that, especially young girls. So, you know.
We made our kids watch it. We loved it.
Oh,
I mean,
our kids
and I thought
definitely watched it.
I thought it was great. I thought the dancing was amazing, and I thought it was a great cohesive show. This wasn't one of those ones where they're like they picked one artist and they're like, oh no, we have to make sure people who like rock music like it, so let's throw in the Red Hot Chili Peppers or bring Slash out from a platform.
I like that they leaned it. They went all in.
Yeah,
they went all in, and I thought. Here's why I thought Shakira killed it. Shakira's songs were more recognizable to me. J-Lo has many recognizable songs, but they did different versions of them, and so it wasn't as familiar to me.
I think Shakira's big songs are songs I like a lot more, but I like neither of them have that many great songs. The overall performance is what made it great.
And the J-Lo's daughter thing I thought was pretty cool.
That was cool.
Yeah.
I didn't watch it.
Oh,
okay. It's my only break in a game. I made nachos and changed the laundry. Okay. Becky, what'd you think?
It's
Well,
on
no,
YouTube.
I loved it, and I agree. It's just proof that instead of bringing in an act that happens to have a popular song or that you think needs to, like, for whatever weird things that they've done in the past, I think just bring someone on that's going to do a great performance, regardless of when the songs are from. It was so fun. I thought it was just pure entertainment. And you know what? Jennifer Lopez is like, she is a goddess. Like, she's incredible. I didn't even really like the movie Hustlers, but I would watch it over and over again because I just want to watch her in existence.
I totally agree with that review of the movie. Not a good movie, but J-Lo is amazing.
She's amazing. I just like I am entranced.
Not a good movie, but
I'm entranced by her. So yeah, I absolutely loved it. It was the first time in I don't even know how many years there was a halftime show that was actually. Oh yeah, the Beyonce one was great, but then there was Coldplay and Beyonce, right?
Well, one was Coldplay and Beyonce, which I feel like Beyonce doesn't need Coldplay. No one needs Coldplay.
No,
exactly.
it was that they
Beyonce
got
doesn't need anybody.
No, it was that they got
Coldplay, and no one wanted
Coldplay. Shit, nobody's gonna want to watch.
And then they brought in Beyonce, and it was
Fix
just
You.
terrible,
They
man.
could have called it Cold Bay.
Cold Bay. I like Bruno Mars. I thought Bruno Mars did a good job too.
No,
Yeah, but the random appearance of the Red Hot Chili Peppers,
Right, it's
with
that. I
their
think
instruments not
that's
even
what it
plugged in, was
is.
the worst thing I've ever
Unnecessary.
seen.
Right. It's those kind of weird mashups where just like go with the theme, pick a lane. They picked a lane, they stuck with it, they went all in, and I thought it was phenomenal for that reason.
Think back to when they had The Who playing Baba O'Reilly.
Yeah,
I
it's okay, but they were pretty old.
it's not close.
But okay, so we're going to. All right, so that's the halftime show. Anyone else have anything else to add on the halftime show? I liked how much Spanish there was. I liked how international.
Yes, I as one of the things I was going to say is that I like that they leaned into being Latina and their culture and like calling that out and shouting that out. I thought that was very cool.
That was really cool.
I like the A-Rod. I liked A-Rod in it too.
Yeah,
what is A-Rod doing it?
He took a selfie video of himself like rocking out to the point of like only like a way a dad or like a boyfriend would, and it's very sweet. It's like he embarrassed himself, but it's obviously because he loves her. I just, I do hope that they find love. J-Lo deserves it.
Okay, well the odds are they won't, but I do root. I root for her to have happiness. I'm not sure about him. All right, now let's get to the main event here. We've got the titans of marketing and advertising here. We're talking about commercials. Let's just start with your best and your worst, and then we'll play like an epic round of buy, rent, or meh. Let's start with the experts, right? That's why we have him here. Mark, I'd love to hear from you. Bobby
Who?
Buttons.
Mark? Who's Mark? I'm just
Bobby
kidding.
Buttons.
I'm just kidding.
That's his,
I know.
That's his street name, like Ozone and Turbo. He's Mark.
This is his work name. He's talking about advertising.
Great question. In the bests, I thought some of the car stuff was. I couldn't believe they got Bill Murray. Bill Murray is
Yes, that is the biggest coup. Yeah.
He's like, this enigma, a total coup. Like every agency is like, and we'll get Bill Murray, and then nobody gets Bill Murray.
The story of how they got him is insane. You should tell us.
Well,
Yeah,
what I know of it is they
it.
actually shot that ad 8 days before.
That's what
Normally you're in production like 8 weeks, at least 8 weeks.
You probably spend 4 weeks just editing it and sound mixing it and color correcting.
6 weeks if Josh is your client.
No, we do it in 3.
12 weeks if Josh is your client.
So we should explain that we are on different sides of the advertising world. I am on the client side, and Bronze is on the service side.
The agency side.
So Bill Murray was your number one. Bill Murray was amazing. I enjoyed that Bill Murray commercial more than a lot of the movies I saw this year.
Do you know why it was shot 8 days before?
Because he's a maniac.
Because he didn't agree.
He doesn't show up. For Ghostbusters, he didn't show. He showed up the day of filming, and they had no idea if he was going to be there or not.
Oh right.
They actually
Yeah.
made the movie, and
The
so
other
he's
thing-
super famous for being completely unreliable.
So I would say.
I was just going to say the other thing worth noting wasn't just Bill Murray. It was all the other people in the scene.
Right,
Everybody
right.
was brought back from the movie.
Ned
It was
Ryerson.
perfectly reshot.
Yeah, it was fantastic.
And they gave a great role to the actual thing they were selling,
That
which
was
was
what I
a
was gonna
rarity of
say.
the game. Sorry.
No, I agree.
Yeah,
most
it
car
is
commercials,
awesome.
I don't remember what a car is, but because it was Groundhog Day, every time they restarted the day, you got a shot of the orange Rubicon Jeep. I have no idea what a
Right.
Rubicon Jeep is.
Right. It was
Boy.
Nor will I
brilliant.
ever buy a Jeep.
No,
And
but
the
it made me
fact
remember it.
And the fact that the game was on Groundhog Day, right?
It was like right around
Yes.
it.
It was on Groundhog Day.
The way they tied it all together and they actually pulled it off is brilliant. I saw that before it was before the actual Super Bowl. They released it. I texted it to Shy. I was like, Bill Murray's in a commercial.
So, guys, why do they release the commercials before the Super Bowl now?
Yeah.
This is something I don't fully understand.
Just hype.
I think it's because they spend so much money on it. They're trying to get as much out of it as possible. So,
Oh,
I
okay.
hated the Planters commercial, but they owned the week before it.
They did. I couldn't even pay attention to it.
Didn't
I'm
the
like, wait a
plant-
minute. I thought it was Baby Yoda, not a Baby Peanut.
Well, didn't the Planters commercial feel like a ripoff of Baby Groot?
It was like half Groot, half Baby Yoda.
Yeah, it felt like a ripoff, but like
Sting.
specifically of Baby Groot, because that's the whole thing is that like Groot dies, but then he comes back as
Yeah.
Baby Groot. So they made this whole big deal that like the Planters peanut guy died, and then you're like, oh no, and then all of a sudden they're like, just kidding, Baby Peanut.
But they had everybody waiting for that ad because they'd done a week of PR beforehand about how the nut had died.
Right. That was.
What other ones did you guys like?
I thought that Doritos. Excuse me.
Western.
No, what am I talking about?
Cheetos?
Doritos the West?
No.
That was a good
Cheetos. Excuse me.
Cheetos,
Can't touch
MC
this.
Hammer.
That was great.
Was
Very
amazing.
subtle.
That's great. I mean, just do it. Just like go for it. You gotta get the dust on your hands. It's like everyone's like,
It played
great.
off like what is true about that brand, which is everyone finishes a bag of Cheetos and has the
Yes.
orange.
Yes.
Oh, okay. So being true to the brand is a factor.
Well, it's just like it's fun. Like a lot of times you see brands like taking swings, and it's either too much or they're trying to find humor in nothing, like for the sake of it, and so it felt like just go for
I
it.
agree. Like I
Felt
can't
good.
remember what the head in the ass ad was, but they were trying too hard. I felt.
Take 5.
Take 5.
And
Oh, sorry, I
that's
gotta-
explicit warning, Josh.
Sorry.
What's the take the head in the what?
So Take 5 chocolate bar did the what have you been under a rock? Were you raised by a pack of wolves? Like they were
That's
just. I
Reese's
felt like it was
Pieces.
trying too hard.
The Reese's
Felt like it was
Pieces.
trying too hard.
Okay.
The Reese's
I don't think I
Pieces
saw
one.
that one.
I did not see that one.
It was
Exactly.
a bit
Okay.
silly.
All right, Lily and Becky, what were your bests?
Okay, can I go? I'm really excited.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna go. So my favorites were the Winona. I like the extended
What?
version. There's like a
That's-
3-minute version of it on
Oh.
YouTube.
It's like
that
a
is-
strange Fargo type.
Oh my
Coen
god, that's what
Brothers
it was. I
movie.
felt like it was directed
Short
by the
version
Coen
was
brothers.
Terrible.
I felt like it was directed by the Coen brothers. It was so weird and good, and just the rep.
What was
I
the ad
loved-
for?
It was for
Squarespace?
Squarespace.
Was it though?
Oh, yeah,
it was
yeah.
for
What-
the-
it was
the
weird, the
website.
website.
I loved it. I thought it was so quirky and unique and a
But
great
if it's 3 minutes, it's a short film. It's not a commercial.
whatever. I'm not the one in charge of marketing, Lily. I'm not marketing it as a short film over a commercial or commercial over short film. They're saying it's a commercial.
I will
I'm
say there were a lot of ads where I would just keep watching. I don't care what the brand was, but that writing for that particular piece was more interesting than a lot of other shows and movies out there.
And then the Bill Murray one was one of my other top ones. And then the New York one, the one about love. Oh my God, was I crying. That was
Allie cried
amazing. The
during
different
that.
words for love. It was so beautiful
Filios.
and thoughtful
Really.
and touching.
It was that one
I
made
loved
me
it.
This is
very uncomfortable.
But I'm more
like it's your
excited to do.
filmmaker's take
I'm more
on
excited
the
to do my
ads.
worst than my best. So
Can I
let
say-
me know.
Well,
when we
let's.
can do
I
our
want to
worst.
hear Lily's best, and then we can do worse.
Okay, I'm so excited for
I'm
this.
waiting for someone to say my best. Come on. Lily.
I loved the Ellen DeGeneres Alexa
Really?
one. I thought that was pretty funny. I liked
Yeah.
it. I liked the Mars water soda stream one.
I didn't see that one. How did I miss that?
Human
one?
seltzer is refreshing in space.
Did you guys see that one? They're
No,
on Mars
yeah.
and they find water and then they bring it back and they're like so excited and then some guy just mistakes the bottle for the soda stream bottle
And they
makes
use
it
the
stuff
sound
ugly.
of the
Right, and then he just goes, "Oh, I thought it said Mark's water, not Mars water." And he drinks it, and they're all like horrified.
So wait, how are we not? I'm like,
Okay, so my favorite ones. So my favorite ones, just so you know, were Charlie Day and Emily Hampshire doing the Tide thing. I hated the Tide ad from a couple of years ago,
you feel
but
like
I
that was
just
such a
liked Charlie
waste of
Day
their
and Emily
talent?
Hampshire.
That was such
And
a
then the
waste of
other
their-
one was Smotpock.
Kapak.
Yeah,
Oh,
the-
that was
Fuck.
great. That was
Come on.
great.
put those three people in a movie
I
tomorrow.
agree.
Everyone will go see it.
That was
Yeah.
the best ad for me. It was the most
And
rewatchable ad.
it felt like Rachel Dratch could not keep a straight face, which was fabulous. Like,
But
she
if
was
you're
struggling.
like NBC Universal or any one of the non-Disney studios now, you go and you're like, I want those three people in a movie where they talk in Boston accents. We could like fast track it.
Just
was
go watch it again.
wonderful.
It's so rewatchable.
I have watched that. I don't know. I watched the commercial 5 times. I think it's just so awesome. Plus, you got to have David Ortiz in it. Big Poppy,
it was
right?
great.
Dave? Right, that's David Ortiz. Okay, all right. Let's hear some of the
Poppy.
worsts. Wait, Josh, did you have your best?
No, Josh didn't say his best.
Kapak was my best. Cheetos MC Hammer.
Oh, that's that's
Groundhog
on my
Day.
list, for sure. I bought Cheetos
Um,
after that.
I like the Doritos dance off with Lil Nas X
Oh.
next and Sam
that was
Elliott.
great. Yes, I loved
That one was really
one.
good.
That was
What,
so good.
Josh, what makes that one good? As an expert in the field, what does that make that one good?
That ad, I just associated with Doritos Ranch, and it was entertaining. I didn't think it was like I think Smart Puck was good. A, because it's rewatchable. B, because the actual bit tied to the benefit that they're trying to sell you. Like, you like the Tide one. What was the benefit that they tried to sell you in the Tide one?
The Tide one was that if you stain your shirt, you can wait till later because Tide is so good at cleaning things. And like when you're at work and you stain your shirt, it's like really stressful.
So I watched it and I was like, yeah, will people even remember that? But I love the Tide one from years ago. I
But-
thought that was brilliant.
Also, did you notice, and like, because they spent a tremendous amount of money and time on co-brand promotions. Like, did you notice
Yeah.
the
I
Bud
have a
Light?
whole.
Yeah,
I have
yeah,
a whole.
yeah, I'm
Bud
not
Light.
sure how that works.
I have
So
a
they
whole.
have to
wait,
pay those-
let's save that for the
Uh,
questions section because I have a
yeah,
whole
well,
question
yeah,
for Bronson,
Basically,
Josh
yes.
about that.
And they're sharing their.
They're sharing the cost.
Okay.
That's my guess.
I have a but let's save that for the questions section.
Okay.
But the brilliance of years ago, just to go back to the original Tide, was that they made it so that you never knew if any ad in the Super Bowl was going to be a Tide ad. So you thought every ad was going to be a Tide ad.
That's brilliant.
Yeah, but
guy
I
from,
really hated that
Stranger
whole
Things.
bit. Yeah, I really hated
It's
that
like
bit.
every ad that started, you're like, oh man, is this a Tide ad?
Yeah,
Oh, so-
I didn't like it. It didn't make any sense to me. That one literally said nothing about the benefit of Tide, whereas this one actually talked about what Tide does.
But I would say, yeah, like the Jeep in the small park is the best. Those stand
the Jeep
out.
one, the Jeep, like what made that a good ad for me was, like, why would you do that? I don't know, but either way, I remembered Rubicon Jeep because there's so many ads, and when you get to my worst ads, you'll see that I'm like, what was the brand again? I don't even remember why I spent $10 million on this.
Okay, that's fair. All right, so let's talk about our worst. Josh, what are your worst?
I know a lot of people that work there, but I really hated the "How do you muss" ad. It sounds disgusting.
I know, right?
See, I actually really enjoyed that one because I liked all the people in it. But later in the week, I was eating sabra hummus, and I just kept thinking of mussing, and it really made me gag. But I loved that Ric Flair was in an ad.
But I find when they put too many people in an ad, it's ridiculous. And yeah, that was
You're
boo
like
for me.
And I don't even know
the
what
novelty.
like Cheetos, they were owning that, the Cheetos are on your hand. Like, what were they telling me about hummus?
You can dip it
you
in
can
stuff?
dip chips, and that little arrow from the YouTube thing. The pausing of that commercial was unnerving. When they had the little arrow and it looked like it was buffering for a second, and then he pulls the arrow off the screen and it's a nacho. That was upsetting.
Yeah,
Well, like the giant pieces of seafood being dipped in the hummus was disgusting.
I agree. It made me gag. The idea of mussing, and I was like,
Even now when you say it, I just it's like
Are
a
you
little
gonna
bummer in my
muss
mouth.
later?
Someone was like, it is similar to
Also-
when Pepsi did the brown and bubbly ad, which is the worst Super Bowl ad of all time, when they just like leaned into being brown
Also,
and
that you're
bubbly.
assuming that I guess everybody calls it hummus. Ugh, which is not how it's pronounced.
So I think maybe I'm in the minority, but I did not like the Jason Momoa ad.
Oh, I
Oh,
loved
me
it.
neither. I did
I
not like it.
loved it.
What was it for?
Good job.
I don't care.
Yeah, what was it for?
It was for Rocket Mortgages.
Okay, you remember.
oh
Anyone
wow,
else?
I was like, I think for a
I love that
car.
one.
Great top of mind
I was like, maybe it's for a
awareness, Sky.
car or a sound
I couldn't remember what it was
system.
for.
I couldn't remember.
Doesn't matter. It was so weird. It was also like, don't be yourself.
Also, yeah, if you're
No,
skinny
it's
and
the
balding,
no.
then
See,
you're
so
not.
here's to me, Jason
My
Momoa, the
husband's skinny and
good-looking,
balding.
the good-lookingness of Jason Momoa is unnerving to me. That like there's someone that handsome and charming out there. So the idea that when he goes home, doesn't really look like that, honestly, made me feel better as a person.
That's why they made the ad for people like you. But
Yeah, no,
it's a
exactly. Like
weird
he is
message.
a living superhero, and
But he's not. He is really like that in real life. And it's just like making dads like you at home feel better, but it's also telling
yeah,
everybody
guess who
else.
pays mortgages?
I guess. No, in
Maybe.
that sense, they were smart. But I'm also like, you're just sending the message, don't be yourself in the real world. It seemed terrible. It was very unnerving seeing him so
I
disproportionate.
think everything you guys are saying are right, and it's probably changing my opinion on this, but I still love Jason
Right,
Momoa.
I know
your
a lot of
gut
people like
reaction
that. I was not a
was
fan.
Me
good.
neither.
But that is a polarizing one. I think a lot of people were all
Hey,
over.
Josh, keep going because I'm so curious if you're going to say
okay.
my least favorite.
Me too.
And then
So-
I need you to explain to me why I hate my most hated so much because
Okay.
it bothers me on so many levels. It's
So there's a difference
Can't
between
unpack
hated and waste of money. So like there was the Josh Jacobs, who's a running back ad, and like how he came from the streets and homeless and how he made it. But I'm like, what does this have to do with Kia?
That was a car commercial?
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
didn't get that one. I really disliked. Oh, I don't know what that is. It's not me. Oh, sorry. I really.
There's a lot
The
happening
one
here.
for the Guitar Hard Rock Hotel.
I didn't see
What
that
was
one.
that one? Exactly.
Was
So-
that the J-Lo action movie, like Michael
Yeah.
Bay movie one?
Yeah, it was the Michael Bay spot. Where I'm like, what is this?
I mean, I again, another movie I would watch, though. Not
That's fine, but
So Josh, you're basically
Also, it
looking
had
at that
Pitbull.
and
It had that.
waste
It had
of
that.
money.
It had the Pitbull cameo, and I just loved that there was a Pitbull cameo.
the Hummer Electric, the weird. So the Super Bowl, I don't know. I find it weird that they have these commercials that are all about the silence of things. I don't know. There's
I
something
don't, I
about
don't, I
Hummer
don't, I don't
Electric.
even remember that one.
Yeah,
That must have been so
it was
quiet.
just a
I didn't hear
wasteful
it.
car commercial, along with the Aria singing Frozen in the car.
That was terrible.
Wow. Wow.
First of all,
didn't it feel like it
I
was
spent
like
the-
7 years too late? Like,
I
how
was
is
spent-
that relevant?
I spent the whole time thinking to myself, how is Arya old enough to drive?
Also, why
That's- I
would
was, like, very
Arya be
stressed out.
singing that song?
And why
and
would she be in an Audi?
Doesn't it feel like somebody came up with
She's
that
rich.
ad 7 years ago and then someone took it out of the trash and was like, oh, I guess we could just do this one? Like, Fire.
Even the
they have
version
to
of the
pay-
song was weird.
But also,
just
like,
don't-
not only do they have to pay for the Super Bowl time, they have to pay the rights for Let It Go, don't they? Or Good
Yeah.
Time?
Yeah. Oh
Big
yeah.
time.
But I will say the choice of that song does prove a lot of the points that I have made about how bad Frozen 2 was, because they didn't pick a Frozen 2 song. They picked a song from
Which
7
just
years
it just
ago.
seems so weird. It's such a weird choice.
Gas stations and mechanics and all the people that work hard to make cars run. I was like, what are you saying?
I just don't understand.
To all these like hardworking people. and
Lily
then,
is
like,
the voice of the proletariat.
I
I
just
feel like everyone's trying to go with,
commercial.
I don't know. There has to be some purpose associated. So there was like a beer ad where it's like, for every 6-pack of whatever you buy, we're gonna.
The
And if you
Michelob.
actually do the math of how many 6-packs they'd have to sell to even convert like 1,000 farms, it would be the biggest beer company in the world.
We'll give away 1 square foot of arable land. It was very confusing.
I
I
will
was like,
say
wait, I was
that,
trying to do.
that I thought there was a Bud Light commercial. I wrote it down. There was a Bud Light commercial that, no, it wasn't Bud Light. It was the What's Up.
Bud Light Seltzer?
Again. No, not the Bud Light Seltzer. You remember What's Up?
Bud Light Seltzer?
No,
What
I
is
thought it was
happening to
a
this world?
Budweiser. They referred to the old commercial. It was really out
It's
of
all
step.
those technologies like the Roomba and the Alexa, and they're all talking. The computer, they're all going "What's up" to each other, and they're in the apartment of the actor that did the "What's up," and I guess it's for beer. So I know he's coming back to his apartment, and they all stop. Whatever. He picks up beer, and they're like, "We'll use our code. You get a discount for Uber. Don't drive drunk." I was like, "Okay, that's not bad for society."
I think I missed that one.
It wasn't a bad commercial. It was not bad.
I don't
What was the
remember that.
discount code? We have to take an Uber in like 15 minutes, and so I could really use it.
Wait, before we get off the phone, Josh, can you explain to me why I hated the Bryan Cranston Shining commercial so much? Because I
It takes
deeply
something-
despised it.
So
That
I
looked
don't-
like urine was flowing through the Overlook Hotel.
And destroyed
So
it. That's fine.
I didn't mind that one. I enjoy. I've seen it a couple times, and I guess I enjoyed it because I thought it was kind of fun branding. I think first of all, you're taking one of the most unnerving movies and scenes of all time and mashing it together, right? Like you're
Yeah, like in the movie,
blood in
she's
the hallway
trying to
or the
murder,
Mountain Dew in the hallway. The 2 little girls that are creepy, and now you see Bryan Cranston.
trying to murder Bo from Blackish.
Yeah, I thought it was just sort of like okay. I actually thought overall there were way too many movie references, like the Fargo reference, the Shining reference, the Groundhog's Day. Which one?
Okay, but
then
the
there was-
difference is that with here's I think the difference with Groundhog's Day, it's made funny because it's Bill Murray, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they're doing a new
And
spin
Stephen
on
Tobolowsky
right,
and Brian Doyle
right. They're
Murray are
bringing out
in
the
it.
cast and they're doing a new spin on it. The Winona run that's kind of like Fargo is funny because they're referencing it, but they're not trying to remake. They're not reenacting it in any way.
Putting
They're
anybody
just
in a
doing
wood
more like
chipper.
a stylistic homage, so it has that particular type of quirkiness. This one did neither of those two things, and it literally felt like what it looks like to drink Mountain Dew. This is what it would be to watch Mountain Dew. It disgusted me in that same way.
Very
So I guess
accurate
here's what I think-
description.
At its very base level, what I think about Super Bowl advertising is: did you remember it, and did you remember the brand? Like at the end of the day,
Right.
did
does
a lot of
Truth.
people remember it
Good
or
point.
not? Like it's
Exactly.
green. It's a green bottle. It's I don't know.
It makes
Right,
people want to
that's-
murder their spouses.
Gives you the energy to murder
You get
people.
so amped up on Mountain Dew, you'll try to murder your spouse.
And Josh,
So yeah, I didn't
before
hate
we,
it, but
but do you have more? Anybody have more?
Oh, I mean, I'm just gonna tell you, my top hated one was the Tom Brady Hulu nonsense.
Oh, that
like,
one was.
no more Tom Brady ever in anything, especially a Super Bowl. And
Well,
the fact that like,
his cameo in Living with Yourself was brilliant.
but
I'll give him
but,
that. And
but
he's
the
making
fa-
fun of himself. This was awful.
But the fact that this was also tied to like a week of rumors he had been starting on Instagram about like whether or not he was retiring or leaving.
all for
or
the
going somewhere.
commercial.
so I didn't love it. But I think that's the point, that people were literally waiting for that commercial. So if you're trying to spend $6 million and have people think about you, you were paying attention.
But then it's a switcheroo. It's a Last Jedi. It's a opening of Terminator Dark Fate. Then you're like, ugh, I hate this and I hate
I
this
did
brand.
not understand the beginning of that movie as an aside. But anyway, I know you guys talked about it, but I didn't want the spoilers. But it was very confusing. I
You
hated
could go back
Quibi
and
too.
Oh, I really want to. I don't know. Remember the Quibi ad, but I'm interested in Quibi.
So maybe it works. I was like, what you're advertising Quibi. This thing is coming in April. I will have forgotten about it within 10 minutes.
I'm going to try Quibi because I like the idea of 10-minute shows.
Oh, see, so maybe it worked.
Yeah, Quibi. They're doing some very cool stuff with Quibi. But I've been following the brand, so I was like inclined. Like I consider myself an early adopter of being interested in Quibi.
So if you're telling me there are 10-minute shows, to me it's just more proof that everybody wants to get paid more to do less work.
It's too bad Bobby's not here. Oh, he's got good stories about that.
But speaking of Bobby, I don't know, Josh, if you can answer this, Shai, but before you do a lightning round of Buy Mount Red, before you have to jet, I just want to ask about the whole cross promotion thing, because in the Tide ad, you've got Bud Light, and then you've got Wonder Woman. So was somebody like, okay, who does laundry? Women. They like diet beer, and they like a superhero woman. Let's mash this up together. Or they were just like, who's available? And
I'm
who's
not
interested?
sure if they were trying to do...
Like,
Oh,
I'm so curious.
Gal Gadot.
about-
I love her, but why did they use her?
I'm not sure
image
if they
for
were
that?
trying to do it, like recreate what they had done before, which was make you think it's a different ad and then surprise you with a Tide ad. Like that idea.
That didn't work.
It didn't work this year. It worked in the past because they had
Right.
played off all the tropes of every Super Bowl ad. Or they were just trying to share the costs, but I mean, it's Procter and Gamble.
But it also seemed like a weird. And then I was going to ask, do they own all three of those products?
No, they do not. So there's
then it's
probably
just
some shared cost of marketing, and it's
It's like a
bringing
weird
like power
cold
brands
call.
together.
Like, imagine just like, it's a weird cold call. Like, hey, we're Tide, Wonder Woman. Do you wanna
Maybe
do
they
an
share
ad?
an agency. You know,
There's
I'm not
something.
sure.
Like, I'm like, there's something up there because those three products just did not.
There must be someone's job at an agency to make those partnerships, right? Like I'm assuming like Tide doesn't call up Bud. It's the agency that does it?
I would imagine it's going through an agency side.
Okay.
I don't know.
Bobby had to step out to take care of Mini Bobby, so we may never get the answers to some of these questions.
We'll have to
All right, let's boil this down to our signature game, to buy, rent, meh. Not everybody has to go, but you do have to justify your answers. In the food commercial department, Cheetos MC Hammer, Jonathan Van Ness and Pop-Tarts, and Sabra Hummus, which featured,
According to the ad, it's hummus.
which Mussing had Urkel in it. It had RuPaul's Drag Race stars Ms. Cracker and Kim Chi, which I really enjoyed having them in that commercial. That was awesome. And Ric Flair, who is a wrestling legend yelling woo, which I will pretty much be into any commercial with that. Okay, buy, rent, meh. Becky.
I'm going to...
Obvious.
I know it's obvious to say buy Cheetos, rent JVN, and meh hummus, but I kind of secretly want to buy the JVN one because I felt like he queer-eyed Pop-Tarts and pretzels for me, which was like a challenge. So
I guess, but the commercial was bad. I feel like they could have made it better.
it was just JVN being like shouty.
The commercial is bad, and one of the things I associate with Queer Eye is that episode where they teach that guy to eat healthier, and the notion that he would be selling Pop-Tarts, which I love, but are like among the most like horrifically terrible for you foods in the world.
I do agree with that.
I
was shocked that he was hawking Pop-Tarts.
That was my biggest.
That is not
like
his
a bunch.
jam.
A bunch of crazy people dipping things in hummus. Like it was gross, but no one in there to me I'm like, oh cool, all these different people like hummus, that's cool, they all dipping their own thing, that's their own spin on it. So to me, actually, that's the one I buy. I rent the Cheetos one because I really don't like getting things on my fingers, like it skeeved me out. And then I met Jonathan Van Ness because of that authenticity. Like I'm like, what the heck is he doing selling something so bad for you?
I think the hummus, it was super polarizing, but we all remembered it in our own way. So to me, that kind of works.
I went out and bought Sabra hummus that week.
See, there you go. I would still buy Cheetos and rent hummus, even though I hated that commercial.
All right, let's go with the big emotionally manipulative commercials. All right, there was Google's Loretta,
favorite category.
which was the which was like the old man remembering his wife.
that
Then there
one.
was WeatherTech with their dog who survived cancer,
dog.
which I don't even know what a
What
WeatherTech
is
is.
that?
I'm like,
And
but,
then-
like, there are children that don't have money to get cancer treatment. I'm like, I'm so happy that dog's gonna
There's
be
a
okay. But
backstory about the owner of the company on that one that I didn't understand.
I'm like, the fact that they were asking for donations at the bottom, like, you want to build amazing tech to save dogs, that's fantastic. They're asking for donations at the end of that commercial. I was like, there are children who can't afford cancer treatment.
That's a really
the donate at the
good
end
po-
of it was a bit much for me.
And then there's the New York Life words of love, the word of love describing putting old people in bathtubs. That one.
It's a bit much 'cause
So
it's like it's an insurance company and they're gonna fuck whoever tries to survive on their insurance. That's worse than
I
JVN
didn't earn the
selling
biggest
popcorn.
E on this one.
what'd you say?
I didn't earn the biggest explicit E on this one. Lily.
Oh no, Lily. It's always Lily.
Every time.
It's always Lily.
Wait, what I'm saying is that that one is worse than JVN hawking Pop-Tarts. I'm like, love, you're definitely screwing people out of their life insurance.
Wow, can I tell you? I did not even realize it was for life insurance. I thought it was for like a magazine or something. I was like, what are they selling here? Didn't. So
Life
definitely
insurance.
just
But it
took that
touched you
down a notch
emotionally.
because I didn't
Yeah.
even know what they were selling.
I
thought
love
they were
that.
just
Google
selling
was
tears.
from the
Google was
movie
at-
Up, wasn't it?
As well, it
Oh,
was
it's
it was
amazing.
inspired by Up. A lot of
yeah.
people felt like it was. To me, the Google one was the buy, and then the Love one was rent. But the Google one was the buy. I'll just emphasize that because I spend a lot of time archiving digital things, pictures, videos, movies,
agree.
whatever, and I want to believe that this will be worth something one day. I mean, to me, I thought about this podcast. This podcast is our record of our life and our relationship to one day have our kids listen to. That's what it started as. And to me, Google was validating that big time.
I totally agree. That's the buy for me.
They're like, buy
Um,
more storage. Buy more storage.
I'm loyal. I'm already knee deep in Amazon. I can't switch.
buy more hard drives.
Right. Exactly.
I definitely upgraded our Google storage this week, by the way.
There
Okay.
you go. Wow, Shai,
Lord.
you're like the
What?
optimal customer. Switch
You can't look at Shai's bank account because he also booked
to Rocket
hard
Mortgage.
rock
I
guitar
don't feel like
right
he's
now.
being completely honest with us of all the things he's purchased since watching these commercials. We're just getting trickles.
Cheetos and Pop Tarts. You're switching to Rocket Mortgage.
Cheetos
New York
dipped in
Tiger-
must. That's how you must.
Wow.
Shai dipped his mortgage in the must.
You're the ideal audience for these ads.
I must my
Here's-
mortgage.
I have one more thing to say about the what do you
so
must.
many bad thoughts.
The what do you must thing, it's as if so I must this, I must that, whom is whom a thing that you must hum.
I'm just picturing Shai dipping
Like the
a
first half of
computer
that.
into his hummus, a microphone in hummus.
Zohan style.
The Zohan style. The
Yeah.
with the glasses.
And that's funny is that they didn't get Adam Sandler of all
I
people.
know. Because
to
he
be
was
in
like,
that.
this is
It would've made me
disgusting,
like it.
and it's not pronounced hummus. That's what he
I
said.
just want to see a Zohan 30 to 60 second spot for hummus.
That would be
That makes
amazing.
sense, yeah.
Oh, don't.
All right. So our last buy rent minute. This is to try to talk about some more the commercials that I thought were just theater of the absurd. One was the giant Snickers hole
I
that
could
the people
not
with the.
finish that commercial. I turned it off.
Except for the
Another one was
I
Falling
couldn't.
in
I
the
actually
hole?
hated it so much. I switched it,
It was really
halfway
bad.
through.
Molly Ringwald selling avocados from Mexico.
Consistently with Turkish Airlines, the worst Super Bowl commercials ever.
And they were everywhere on the. And then the last one was Winona Ryder Squareface, which we talked about because I just thought
the
was.
15-minute version because the 30-second version made no sense. So I'll have to see the extended director's cut of that commercial.
So of those,
Much
which do you
homework for a commercial?
which do you buy? Everything's a show now.
Good Lord.
Everything's on Quibi.
The avocado one, I guess, because it's so absurd. But at least I understood she was trying to sell me an avocado. The Snicker ones, I guess I'm gonna rent because they put Snickers really big at the end, so that makes sense. And then they had the guy from Boogie Nights and
World is
Traffic.
angry.
I love that guy. So he was in it. And then
Oh,
the
oh
rest-
Oh, wait,
yeah,
the guy from Waiting. Come on.
yeah. One of the greatest.
Waiting is really
one of,
where it's
Luis
Guzman.
Guzman, one of the greatest ever.
yeah.
Luis Guzman.
And, so he was great. So that I can rent, even though it makes no sense. And then, like I said 5 seconds ago, Winona, I can't. I guess I may you, but I have to see the director's cut. to fully.
I'd buy Snickers. I thought that one was just my kind of crazy humor. I rent Winona, and the avocados one was just like, I'm sort of like slowly getting back to eating avocados a little bit after like over a decade of not touching them, and it just kind of grossed me out.
I'm with you.
Yeah, I didn't like the idea of the avocado in a velvet like jumpsuit. To me, that was just.
And why Molly Ringwald?
Also, the
She's on
house was
Riverdale.
it was so long that commercial. I was like, how much? I kept thinking, how much money are you avocados spend? That's why they're so
$10 million.
expensive. Like that, the avocados
Wow,
were so
that's
freaking
crazy.
expensive because they had to
$10 million.
They had to pay for that.
And do you
ad.
think, is this for all avocados or a specific company of avocados, or is this the avocado growers? Like,
Mexico,
I just know that
conglomerate.
avocados have had a rough year, and so the price has gone up. So maybe they're making more money.
because they had
I
to
don't
pay
know.
for that commercial. That was insane.
It's like $4 an avocado.
They should take
Okay. We're gonna head out soon. So, does anybody have a rec, a shout out, and your social media, your links?
Lily and
all
I
in one
have
shot?
Lily and I have such a huge rack, but we'll have to discuss it next week. Everyone watch Next in Fashion on Netflix, and next week we will.
Which to me,
discuss it
is that with
in
Tan?
detail.
To me, I just looked at it and I was like, wait, so they just took outtakes from the last Queer Eye season and they stitched them together into a different show?
They
Oh,
made
that was
it
one of
into
my
a better
favorite
show.
things.
This is so good.
All right. Well,
Agree. Oh, and I've watched half of Uncut Gems, and it's on Netflix here. I don't know if it's on your Netflix. And as always, Sandler's impressive, and it's like very stressful, but it's a cool movie so far.
and where can people follow you, Lily?
Chichi K Gomez on the Twitter and on Letterboxd,
Cool.
the movie review app.
And Becky?
At Paper BK Princess on the socials.
Josh, any recommendations?
I'm going to recommend The Magicians.
The Magicians.
Back. Fanny Corman bringing it back.
We know.
I love it. I'm really deep into season 6 of Vikings. You guys should do that.
I feel like
and
Josh
started
and Mom
watching-
should have their own podcast together.
One day when we build the podcast empire, Mom and Josh will definitely have a spin-off show. Where
And
they just talk about their sci-fi shows and
I'm all in.
shows for old ladies.
Fair enough.
Do you want people to follow you anywhere?
You can follow me at Josh Crew on Twitter and on Letterboxd.
Tweet him your complaints, people.
I would love to hear what people complain about.
Josh is the voice of a generation. And you can, I don't have any new recs. Well, yeah, I'm still digging Foyle's War that Dad turned me on to. I finished the first season. It's very educational. It's very slow. But the other day when the kids were annoying me and, it's a true test of kids because you're like, will you watch no TV or anything? And they will watch anything because I was just like, you know what? You guys are driving me nuts. We're going to watch this. And they're like, no. And then I started and suddenly they're watching period drama mysteries about pre-1941 World War II police in England. And with that, you can follow me at Pancake4Table on Twitter and Instagram, and on Letterboxd, where we're having a lot of fun. I posted my football movies rankings last week, which, Josh, I very much would like your thoughts on. And you can follow all of our stuff at Fry Night Movie on Twitter and Instagram. We have been collaborating with Stas R. We're taking a break from that this week because we had a really tight recording time, but we'll get back to that soon. So follow them, stasr.com. And you can, and then our music, our theme music will kick in by What Does It Eat? And Josh is demanding for his birthday, his 40th birthday, demanding the final word. So I will say bye-bye to you guys, but then the final word will go to Josh, my dear, dear friend of 28 years. Happy birthday,
I just
sir.
wanted to give my wonderful wife, Danielle, a shout out. She arranged an awesome weekend for my 40th birthday. So I wanted to share with the world that I love her dearly. I've now
She's the
officially
best.
known her for more than half of my life. So Stein, thank you.
Credit for Stein. And with that, we dance ourselves into the evening. Bye, guys. Good show.
Happy birthday. Have fun.
Bye.
Thanks. Bye, guys.
Wait, by the way, when Vlad walked behind Becky, like without his shirt on, I was like, oh, it's the real Jason Momoa.
Lily, always delivering the cold open. Thank you.
I was like, there he is, in the flesh.
Hey, I'll take my Jason Momoa
grow
in
his
any
hair
shape
out.
or form he comes in.
All right, later, guys.
Have fun, happy birthday. Bye.
Well, that was a sick burn. That was literally the best line.
It just went through my head. I saw his like blurry, skinny shadow behind you. And I was like, oh, there's the real Jason Momoa. But I didn't want to interrupt like the ending because I was like, okay, they have to leave. So I was like, I'm just going to wait till after because I couldn't resist.